Cyrus Audio are a UK-based hi-fi manufacturer with, I think, a very obvious worldwide recognition. And by that I mean you can always tell it's a Cyrus product without even looking at the badge. And recently Cyrus celebrated 40 years of business, which is a real achievement. And you know what they say about turning 40. So that was possibly your first look at the new Cyrus 40 range of products. And I'm sure Cyrus would say 40 never looked so good. And I dare say if you're familiar with the classic Cyrus design aesthetic, and I think that design aesthetic has been the same for about 35 years, I'm sure you would agree with me that this new aesthetic is it's like a new beginning, isn't it? It's like a whole new design aesthetic that is very still obviously Cyrus in terms of the physical size and form factor, but this is new, right? This is a new step into a more modern, I think, overall design approach. And I think it's much nicer, much better in many ways. Some of them that won't be obvious to you straight away, but that's sometimes a nice thing. The discovery aspect of owning new hi-fi products, the wow, I didn't know it did that kind of moments. I always really enjoy those, but let's be honest, they're pretty rare. While I'm being honest, I need to tell you that Cyrus has asked me to be the first, I believe, reviewer to look at all four products, new products in the 40 range, 4 and 40. That makes sense, doesn't it? But this video is not a review. This video is just a glorified news piece, really, telling you about the products on their day of launch. So what are the 4 new 40 range products? Well, it can't be a new Cyrus range without a CD player. For me, Cyrus are synonymous with high-end CD players. And I definitely remember reading What Hi-Fi Awards magazines with Cyrus cleaning up year on, year out. And I used to own a Cyrus CD player. I think it was a CD6 or a CD6S, I can't remember. But I have to be honest, the love of playing CDs has faded for me over the last 10 years. But I know a lot of you still love spinning the silver disc. And Cyrus told me the new 40 CD has a new and improved power supply, also a new drive support mechanism to better manage vibrations created by the mechanical forces of the drive itself, and also a whole new DAC section. And that is all pretty cool, combined with the new 40 aesthetic. For those of you who prefer to play music from the cloud, there is the new 40 ST or streaming music player that continues Cyrus' relationship and use of Bluos music player software, which is great because it's one of my favorites and it's also very well supported these days, which means the Cyrus is room ready and it supports MQA playback if that's still important to you. The 40 ST also gets a new power supply, also a new DAC section, which is pretty cool. And of course, the new 40 aesthetic, which means a very bright and very clear 5-inch high-res screen that's nice. And a very bright, if you want it to be, control knob ring. And it also gets the new 40 series integration options. The third new product is the 40 amp. And the 40 amp really benefits from the new manufacturing process and materials Cyrus are using to create their chassis. And the new materials combined with the process creates what Cyrus told me is a much better heatsink, so they can push more power through the amplifier and it still only is ever warm to the touch. The 40 amp gets some new connections that will definitely appeal to some, such as EARC. It gets a new and better power supply with, again, a whole new DAC section and the new 40 series aesthetic and integration options. And lastly to speak about is the new 40 series PSU, which Cyrus were very honest and told me that the 40 PSU is very similar or shares or has a lot in common with the XR PSU that it will be replacing. However, it has been improved to, of course, support the new needs of the new 40 series products, which makes perfect sense. But the 40 series PSU is also still backwards compatible with previous generation Cyrus products. And I thought that could be cool for somebody to know, because maybe that would help them or assist them or guide them if they are making the upgrade from any previous generation Cyrus products to the 40 series. Maybe the power supply would be the first one they buy. I really don't know, but I thought it was interesting that you can use it backwards compatible. And being Cyrus, all of the 40 products are manufactured here in the UK in Nottingham, and I visited the factory last year. It's a very impressive place with very high-end machinery mixed with highly skilled manual processes and stringent QC procedures. And there is a whole video from my visit to the factory on my channel, and I'm very proud of that video. It's definitely well worth you checking out. Cyrus did tell me the prices for the 4 individual products, and what I found interesting was they are only a small amount more than the current XR equivalents that they will be replacing. And what's interesting about that is that it's only like an inflationary amount more money, and yet Cyrus have been able to build a new chassis, a whole new aesthetic with a much nicer screen. There's custom controls for the volume here. There's a custom built remote control, upgrades to the power supply and DAC section, and more, all for just an inflationary amount more money than the previous range, like the XR range. So, you know, hats off to them for that. But all of this loveliness stands for nothing if the 40 range doesn't deliver the sonic goods. And at this point in my review process, the 40s are all still running in. And I'm getting to know them, I'm pushing them to their limits to find out what they're fully capable of. But already I would say there is a very familiar Cyrus sound, and if you're not sure what I mean by that, then I would say that it's a very clear, a very organised, a very precise sound with excellent timing. To me, those are characteristic Cyrus traits. But what I'm hearing from this setup is maybe more meat on the bones, a little more tonal warmth, fullness and saturation or pleasingness, which was a surprise, definitely a welcome surprise. And I've also noticed a bit more drive and a bit more what I would call ballsiness to the bass delivery from the amplifier, which again was a really nice surprise. And I've not hit the maximum yet with what these products can do. Of course, they're still running in, and I haven't even turned on the 40 PSU power supply upgrade to see what benefit that brings to each of the products. So to be able to get the kind of sound I have been from just the standalone Cyrus products in the 40 range has been pretty impressive. But look, there's a huge amount more review I need to do, loads of comparisons and all sorts to, fully form an opinion, but it's been a nice start. Now, I'm fully aware that this video is a little light on facts, but that's deliberately. I'm literally trying to, give you a little tease for the 4 individual reviews that will be coming very soon. And I wanted to end the video with a classic turned 40 quote. So I did some research and I found some really great ones. And I think my favourite one was, "All men over 40 are scoundrels." Where did that come from? That was genuinely one of the quotes that I found on a list of, when you've turned 40. All men over 40 are scoundrels. It's true, isn't it? Of course, but it's really quite funny. I found one that I think was probably more apt, and it's one that everybody knows, but with a slight twist. So, life begins at 40 because up until that point, all we were doing is research. I think that could be very apt because maybe for the last 40 years, all Cyrus has been doing is research, to bring us this 40 range of products. I'll leave you with that very cryptic comment. So now, of course, all 4 product reviews will be coming soon, but I've got a huge amount of work to put in. It's all happened by the time you've seen this video, but I'm shooting this weeks in advance, of course. So thanks for watching the video. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it.